Hi, how are you today? It is Googie Ballyhoo here today with you, and I am going to be recreating the iconic look from Little Shop of Horrors as Audrey, played by Ellen Greene in the 1986 version of Little Shop of Horrors. And I've got a lot to talk to you about today. So instead of just doing the makeup and showing you the makeup, I am going to talk a little bit about the film, about the character, and about why I'm recreating the look. So, I have cited my sources below. I did some research this time, and I wanted to make sure that the proper people got credited, so they are in the description box below. Now, the first thing I want to do is tell you, if you aren't familiar with the film, I want to give you a little bit of background information on that. So, Little Shop of Horrors is sort of a speculative fiction, fun story that was originally a film made by Roger Corman, who made a lot of really fun, really weird sci-fi horror movies in the 70s through the 80s, probably the 60s through the 80s. And Jack Nicholson got his start in Roger Corman films. Um, and so Frank Oz picked it up and he created a cult classic. He made it into a musical and he made the characters much different. And his choice of actors made the movie what it is today. That's my firm belief. And so it is a story about a young man who works at a flower shop and finds an exotic plant, which is actually an alien from outer space. He brings it to his shop that is just a rinky-dink, falling apart, hole in the wall florist shop on Skid Row. And he, like all of the other characters, is struggling with poverty, is struggling with raising himself up by his bootstraps, as if that's really a thing people do. And so is Audrey, and that is the secret love of his life. Audrey is arguably the heroine of the piece, and I will get into that more a little bit later. So I want to start with Ellen Greene, just talk about her just a little tiny bit. So she's an actor, she's a musical theater performer. She's reprised the roles numerous times, the role of Audrey specifically, numerous times, which I think is just like perfection. And she made Audrey who she is today. So the character description, according to Howard Ashman, who is the author that wrote the screenplay in 1982, Little Shop of Horrors, published by Samuel French, Inc. in New York. His word-for-word description of Audrey is as follows. The bleached blonde, Billy Dawn-like secret love of his life, Seymour. If you took Judy Holliday, Carol Channing, Marilyn Monroe, and Goldie Hawn, removed their education and feelings of self-worth, dressed them in spike heels and a low-cut dress, and shook them in a test tube to extract what's sweetest and most vulnerable, that'd be Audrey. Okay, so Audrey in the film is a domestic abuse victim. There's no doubt about it. Numerous times she shows up with bruises. People talk about it. Her abusive boyfriend shows up. That's Orrin, the dentist. And off screen, you hear her being abused. It's treated pretty lightly, which is problematic. I realize it's treated pretty lightly, almost laughable. And I do believe that that is a product of the times, and that is not an excuse. I do also believe that because Ellen Greene portrayed Audrey so compassionately, that we see Audrey for who she is, which is allowing herself to be vulnerable on the inside, allowing herself to have the fantasies of moving up in the world, of living out a life of domestic bliss with the secret love of her life, which is also Seymour. And that every choice that she makes up to Seymour is not her choice. She doesn't actually feel she has a choice or indeed have a choice in her socioeconomic status, the neighborhood that she lives in, the fact that she comes from a home where her father left, that her mother is poor, that most women at the time, left to their own devices, struggled financially a great deal. Um, and one of the things that Ellen Greene did so well in my eyes is that she gave her this teeny tiny speaking voice, but this huge singing voice. So in her everyday life, she is placating, she is pacifying, she is people pleasing, she's small. But when she sings about her love and her fantasy life, she blossoms, she blooms, she grows. Her voice is big. You hear her anger, you hear her longing, you hear her love. And that is in a big voice. And that is Ellen Greene. So the fact that this isn't a cartoon character, that she is taken seriously, is because Ellen Greene took her seriously. Ellen Greene played it straight. And that was the treatment that I believe that Audrey deserved. Especially since in the original ending, Audrey's life is ended as self-sacrifice. So in order to make sure that Seymour is allowed to succeed and continue, she asks to be fed to the plant. So having talked about that a little bit, I'm going to continue with the makeup. The cool thing is, I believe that they started the film, the time setting is, I believe, 1950s, like mid 1950s to really early 1960s. Because they're wearing those fit and flare dresses, or they're wearing the bodycon dresses and the hairstyle. I do have a wig today, and I'm going to try to put on the wig after I'm finished. And I styled the wig, and I teased the wig, and I'm very excited about that. Okay. I do have notes, and I'm going to go over some of those notes. While we are chatting, I do realize I'm having problems with lights today again. Excuse me for a moment, and maybe I will open a door to get more light in here. Okay? I'm lighting it a little bit from behind now, and hopefully that will help us out. Oh, there's also a light here. Awesome. Yep, there we go. Okay. I'm really upset because I'm trying to do this on my desktop, which has a webcam with its own light, and it just has never worked. It won't sync with the camera. So I started aggravated this morning. Okay. As per usual, I have used a couple of products beforehand in order to prep my skin as a palette or as a canvas. So we've got Pink Lotus Yensa Peptide Renewal Face Cream. I've used this, and I've also used this Terra Del Mar's, this eye serum, and it's quite good. So I've tightened my skin a little, and I've moisturized it a lot so that I can have a nice look. And the next thing that I'm going to use on my face is primer. This primer is the Dr. Brandt Luminizer Primer Base Lumiere. And that's what it looks like. Okay. All right. So I also want to talk a little bit, I want to talk about queering stereotypes. So this one doesn't need it, this character. I feel like inherently it is set off kilter in a way that is really satisfying, and that gives people something to work with. again, all up to Ellen Greene and her portrayal of the character as a sympathetic survivor of domestic abuse. So a lot of times when I'm recreating these looks, I have questions, internal questions about how appropriate it is to be recreating characters that might not speak really well of women or men. So, for instance, Pee Wee Herman is a problematic actor. He's been accused of some stuff he didn't do, and he's been caught doing stuff he did do. And I'm not going to go into that. I do respect him as an actor. I don't believe he is beholden to the public for his private activities. And I do not believe he's a pedophile. That's just from the fact that he doesn't have, his arrest record was expunged. The charges were dropped. He just got targeted. That really bothers me. But it also raises a question of, what do you do with problematic actors? What do you do, or problematic people who play characters? How do you separate the artist from the art? And next week, I kind of want to do Dr. Horrible from Dr. Horrible Sing Along blog, and then we have to talk about Joss Whedon. So I will be definitely queering the narrative in that case. By gender bending it, I feel like I will be doing justice to the character that was created and all the actors that worked so hard on that made it what it is, much like Little Shop of Horrors. Little Shop of Horrors, Frank Oz, I don't, you could tell me below if like he's done some stuff he's not proud of, or that he should be ashamed of. But I've never read anything about him in the news. He's a Muppet guy, and I'm a huge Muppet fan. So there's I don't have to go anywhere to queer the narrative there. It's already queered. Barbie, another example, created eating disorders in dozens of hundreds of thousands of teenage girls, right? They thought that they had to have that nipped waist and the big bust, and then and it's a standard that we hold ourselves to, that our mothers and our friends and our boyfriends and our whoever society holds us to, that aren't fair, and they're based on those stereotypes. Audrey herself looks like a Barbie doll, and she shapes herself that way. So what do we do with those characters? How do we justify that? And I don't have the answers, but I am asking the questions. I do intend to explore those questions at another day. Okay. So I'm going to work on some contouring. Audrey has really chiseled cheekbones, and that is Ellen Greene. And I'm going to block those out, and then I'm going to try to get rid a little bit of the middle-aged jowl. And I say middle-aged. I'm middle-aged if I live to be 108. And that's okay. I'm going to make my face pop out here. And then I'm going to block out my nose here and here. There we go. Okay. And then I think I'm going to use my fingers today. And I just realized that I left my brushes downstairs, which means I will have to take a trip downstairs. I try to prepare as much as I can ahead of time, and usually I do this downstairs where the lighting is better and everything works better, but that did not happen today. Because most of my preparation, yeah, that's good. Most of my preparation today had to do with a week of note-taking and studying and watching and reading. so that I could learn as much as I could about Audrey, about Little Shop of Horrors, so I could most accurately and honorably represent this. I don't think there's a week that has gone by, probably in the last like 10 years of my life, where I haven't listened to Suddenly Seymour, right? Um, I'm not a great singer. I aspire to be, and I just don't naturally have the voice for it. I have trained. I was in choir in high school. I've taken voice lessons. I've taken music lessons, and I just don't naturally have it. I have to work really hard at it. And I can sing. I'm not saying that I don't sound good when I sing certain things. I'm just not naturally inclined to it, like somebody like well, Freddie Mercury or Ellen Greene or those people who naturally just have Christina Aguilera, just amazing, powerful, beautiful voices, and their ability to express their inner lives with it is. I'm so envious. I want to be that so much. Okay, I'm slipping away for 5 seconds. Watch the show of my dog while I'm gone. Okay, I'll be right back. Oh, Leon, you have nothing to look at. Why would I lie? We're coming back up. See, we're coming back up. Come on. Okay, for you guys, I ran. All right. I hope you're being patient with me. I'm sure you are. But I got another light because this is not going to work. I also got my brushes. And now I'm out of breath. But you guys understand, you know. I say you guys like anybody but my advisor watches these. Sometimes other people watch them. Okay. I have a friend, Gina, who watches most of what I do. But now that it's not, what is it, tarot based as much as it used to be, she's not, that's better, okay. She's not as interested. It is what it is. Oh, that's 100% better. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. So, I don't know if you can see now the contouring, but I feel like it faded in. So we're going to take one more swipe at it. Okay. And I know this looks cartoonish right now. Of course it does. The gel thing worked though. Good. Okay. And then I'll go into the highlighting part in just a second. So we were talking about queering the narrative. We were talking about changing perspective of characters whose creators might be problematic, but for whom their audiences have faith in them because the people who portrayed them, the performers, made them worthwhile. And Ellen Greene is one such person because she created this beautiful Audrey look that people associate with the character more than anybody else in a way that I really love. This is good. Okay, I like it. Yep. Okay. And we were talking about Barbie, and we're talking about how problematic Barbie is just because it's this beautiful, like, Disney princess-esque, blonde, white, young woman. there's nothing about that that's appropriate to women existing naturally. It leaves out a lot of people, right? And I don't like that, obviously. Okay, so I've done my contouring. Now I need to do my highlighting. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to go down my nose here. I'm going to create a little arrow of my the tip of my nose. Whoops. I completely used the wrong thing, and that is funny and silly, and I will fix it. There we go. There. Okay. Okay, got it all. Other end, Rebecca. Okay. So what do we do about that? Like, how do we handle that? How do we handle the fact that there are people that we love, fictional people that we love, but that their creators we may not? Harry Potter, Dr. Horrible, any Joss Whedon woman, all of those people. We sometimes we love the character, like Harry Potter or Hermione or Longbottom is a brilliant character in the series who gets so little attention and is so much a hero. How do we reconcile our love of those characters with the fact that their creators are not lovable, and who are often hurtful to the communities that love them? And I feel that the best way to honor that is to create those characters in our own images, to queer the narrative so that those characters still have a place in our collective conscious. And that's what I'm concentrating on. Okay. And I'm finding the things that exist in the narrative to defend it. I'm not saying just throw out the baby with the bathwater. Audrey's a really great example, right? It's laughable the way she's treated. Her villain Orin is a monster that is hilarious, and that's inappropriate. But Ellen Greene's sensitivity to the character makes us care about her more than him. Okay, you can see the highlighting, you can see the shadowing, and it looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to start now with some eye primer. And I'm going to really work just on the upper lid. I'm also going to recreate bruise makeup. And I'm better at bruise makeup and special effects makeup than I've ever been at glamour. And so I'm kind of looking forward to the challenge. And I'm going to do some weird stuff to create it, and I'll walk you through it. There we go. Yeah. So I'm creating a smooth canvas, like a neutral canvas for eyeshadow. Oh, mainly because, and I'm really concentrating on a neutral canvas for eyeshadow because she loves blue eyeshadow. That was a really big 1950s thing, was blue eyeshadow, high eyebrows. There we go. A winged eyeliner again, false eyelashes. We get a lot of our ideas from mid-century makeup, 1950s specifically. That whole decade was just a blossoming of cosmetic ideas brought on by advertising, pretty much. I'm going to see if I can't do this white eyeliner on my waterline. I don't enjoy it what I'm going to do it and see if it can help open up my eyes a little bit. There's another makeup technique where women can shape their eyes to appear to be either prey or predator. And Audrey very much is prey, other than predator. Okay. Okay, so before I actually start any other makeup than concealment and foundation, I am going to create the bruise makeup. So I'm concealing this under eye area first because I'm working on a clean canvas. I'm going to say it again every time. I'm leaving my hyperpigmentation there where it is. It can live there. It's part of me. It's a part of me that I love. Okay. I'm telling myself. And even though I know one of the only people who looks at these is my faculty advisor, this is public, right? I do want people to look at it. So I'm telling other people who are looking, if you have hyperpigmentation, you are beautiful. And so is the hyperpigmentation. It means you've lived a life, right? Okay. So in order to create it, I think I am going to mix foundation with the colors of bruises that I want. And so I am dotting on some liquid foundation on the back of my hand, these 3 dots. And I'm going to mix 3 different colors on the back of my hand. And I'm going to start with this purple color, this elf purple color. It's a little shiny, and I actually think that's good. And that's going to be probably my darkest color. Okay? And so I won't need much of it. But I appear to need more than I have there. Okay. And I'm gonna give her a black eye because she has a black eye in a whole bunch of the film. So I'm gonna use a light purple, a bright pink, light purple, bright pink, and probably a really dark blue. And the reason for these colors is maybe obvious to you. So the dark purple is where the bruise went the deepest. It also has to do with how old the bruise is. So if you have a bruise that is several days old, it's going to be a deeper color. So they start out as pinkish purple, they go to purple black, they go from purple black to green, light green, yellow, and then they go away. Kinda. That's for a lot of people, that's the path. And I have done a lot of bruise makeup, which is a commentary on our society as much as anything else. Because the majority of the bruise makeup that I have done has been for demonstrations of domestic abuse in some form or another, whether it's fictional or otherwise. And so now I'm just creating a modeled pattern under my eye with the darkest color. So you go darkest to lightest. And sometimes you can create like a shape, like if you put one on your arm, you can actually you can put it on the actor's fingers and have them grab the arm. Yeah, that's looking good so far. And I'm going to put a little up here. And this will live underneath the makeup. Okay, so I'm going to go a little darker than it needs to be in order to cover it up to appear as though I tried to. And your skin models, obviously, when you get a bruise, there's mottling, not modeling, mottling, like with a T, where the blood comes to the there, that's pink is good. Where the blood comes to the surface from the broken capillaries, right? Right. And it's uneven. It's never really even. And so when you're recreating a makeup, you want to make sure that it has spots in different places that are different colors. And I'm going to go ahead and just like put some in here as well. Okay. And then, because that's the nice light color, right? So now she's got a pretty good shiner. Yeah. And then I'm going to put makeup over it. Yeah, and I used glossy makeup as well. There's a couple tricks that you can use to make bruises look really juicy and gross. And one of that is use liquid makeup that has a little bit of gloss on its own. And another way is when you're finished with it, when you've applied all the other makeup that you want to put on it, you dab the tiniest bit. Ooh, I like it because I got this little funny spot of that lip liner in there, and I'm just gonna dot it around. Okay. Yeah, that's a nasty bruise. Poor Audrey. Makes me mad. Okay. So the Vaseline, if you put the Vaseline on, it actually gives you a little sheen that makes it look fresher, shinier, more visceral. Okay. I'm going to let that set for a minute, and I'm going to do my eyebrows while I'm talking to you. This is not an eyebrow pencil that I'm used to using, but it's working. Okay. Yep. There we go. Right on. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to arch it out. There we go. And then I'm going to go underneath it and run it over. There we go. Yep. Not bad. Okay. And I've gotten a lot quicker at this part. I got a little smuts there. There we go. Okay. Just because I've had to practice. Okay. Okay. So it's not like pencil thin eyebrows, but it also isn't like now eyebrows where they're really thick and defined, which is fun and I enjoy it, and I'm glad that it's going in a direction that looks somewhat natural. But this is a 1950s brow, which means high arch, somewhat thin. Okay. I don't know what it is about like talking on video, but every single time my nose starts to run when I'm doing makeup. It's so unhelpful. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of the primer underneath my nose again because it gets red from the, blowing my nose. I'm really trying to get this so you can see better, see me better. It hasn't been working very well, and I apologize. this is my lack of technology talking and nothing else. I just do not have enough experience with this to be as good at it as I want to be. Okay, there we go. Good though. I want you to be able to see the bruise that I created, and it has blended in really well. What that means is I've got my eyebrows on. I'm gonna now work on my foundation, and I'm gonna work really hard to make it appear as though I'm covering up the bruise without getting rid of it. And we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to start over here first, just because that's going to be easier than trying to do that right away. Get the easy stuff out of the way first, and then work on the hard stuff. So another thing that the character Audrey does that I find really interesting is in her day-to-day reality, she dresses for other people. So for instance, when she's on a date with Oren, she wears dresses that are almost bondage oriented in that they hold her in and make her smaller. And they're dark colors or animal prints. So again, you're talking about the predator versus prey. And in her fantasies, when she's singing songs like Somewhere That's Green, all of a sudden she's got these fit and flare dresses, and they're in light colors and floral prints, and the skirts are voluminous so that she takes up tons of space that is her own space. And that is wonderful costuming, of course. Okay, so I'm gonna whack it on my face here, try to cover this up without covering it up. Look, and it's working pretty well. So the way that I'm doing that, so if you wanted to recreate it, is I am dabbing on just the tiniest little spots of it. And I just got way too much foundation over my eye, but that's okay. So now that bruise is still under there, and I might work with it a little more to put it more under there, but I'm happy with it for now. And I will wait now until I have put all the other makeup on to do that. Okay, and now I'm going to blend in the colors, the foundation specifically. Okay. And because I'm going to be using blue eyeshadow, I'm probably going to put some tissue right under my eye when I do it. So I'm also probably going to work on other things first. Okay. Can't find the lid to something, and I can wait till I'm done to do that. Yes, I can. Okay. Okay, let's do some No, now I'm waiting. Now I'm waiting for some makeup to, like, the foundation to blend a little bit, like to dry a little bit. So I'm patting it. I'm gonna have a little drink of my drink. Leo needs to have his nails cut. How you doing, Leo? You're making a lot of noise out there. I'm glad you're here. Get comfortable. Okay. I'm going to start with the eyeshadow. So this eyeshadow is something I haven't used before on film. NYX Ultimate Shadow Palette. It's professional makeup, and this has tons of cool, really bright colors in it. And I'm going to show you that. So we've got this bright blue, and this blue. So I'm going to probably use this one and this one. we'll see what happens. And so I'm going to start with this bright color first. I'm very, very frightened of this really dark blue, but I'm just going to put it. I'm also going to pat in the creases here so they're blended in before I start. So this is on my lower lid, just the lower lid so far. Okay, and then I'm going to create that V shape. I'm going to try to create that V shape with this. Yeah, I'm going above the eye, like right underneath the eyebrow, all the way to here. And I'm sweeping it up so that it creates that little V shape at the end. And yes, you can still see the bruising makeup, and that makes me really happy. Okay, and then I'm going to go over to this eye and do the same thing. This is a really nice, it's a lot. I can obviously layer it to be a lot more rich colored than it is right now. But I'm taking it easy because blue is such a strange color choice for me as a person. Okay, so what I've done is I've created this V on both sides of my eyes, and then I've done the bottom lid, and then I've done right underneath the brow ridge, just with the blue. And then I'm going to take the lighter blue and go in between all that. And then I might take a really bright blue and do some more. I'm going to have to switch. Yep. Oh, that's good. I like it. Yep. I'm going to have to switch in between colors, I think. And again, I'm going to sweep up, trying to create that V. And I'm going to go inside here. Okay. Yep, I love that. And so I'm also raising my eyebrow so that the surface is as smooth as I can get it underneath that eye. And then I want to blend it in a little bit. And then in blue, here's why I was afraid of it. If it's not 100% even, you can see the difference between each eye, and that is terrifying. And so I'm really gonna do some blending here. It's a little better. Okay. I'm gonna take. I've got this brush right here, and this bright blue color. And I think I'm going to go in the crease line with that. And then bring it out. Yeah, I love that. Okay. So I'm going and I'm going to layer that. I'm going to find this crease and I'm going to drag it out to that point. Yep. Do it over here. Okay. I feel like I need something pearly on top of that. And I've used this before, and I think I'm going to use that light pink pearly one. Just to give it some sparkle. And then maybe calm down. Yep, that's the ticket. The blue, just a tiny bit. Yep. Yeah. And I've left the bruise pretty much untouched underneath this eye. And I'm going to probably poke at it just a tiny, tiny bit with a little more bruisey colors. What do y'all think? I think it looks pretty good. Yeah. Okay. I have another pencil in here somewhere. There we go. Okay. I'm not terribly fond of eyeliner pencils, but I'm gonna give it a try. Cause she needs some stuff underneath. And I'll use the liquid one that goes with, yep. I'll use the liquid one that goes with the eyelashes for the top. Nice. Okay. Yeah. So another thing about her is that she has two jobs. Audrey has two jobs. So the first is at a flower shop. It's funny, like she has two separate lives completely. In the flower shop, she has this nice, innocent, completely unreciprocated until the end love affair with her secret crush, Seymour. And then at night, she has a job at a place called The Gutter, and that's where she met her abusive boyfriend. And so in her nighttime, she talks about wearing cheap and nasty apparel. And it's made into a joke that I don't really enjoy very much. So when she's talking to Seymour about it, right when they discover that he has been killed, Oren has been killed, she talks about how she wears cheap and nasty apparel, not at all nice clothes like this. And the joke is supposed to be that what she's wearing is slutty. And I don't care for that joke for obvious reasons. Okay. I'm going to do a little bit of eyeliner. It's supposed to land as a joke, and every time I hear it, it kind of aggravates. It makes me upset. And I used to think it was funny, like other people, until like I really thought about the reality of Audrey's life and her situations. That she is making herself so small to fit in this world, just so that she can survive. Really, there's nothing more to her than survival. But her inner world is so rich. So I'm lining my lips. I'm following my natural line. And I'm going to try to give her a little bit of a pout. Okay. Yeah, I can put on some blush now. So this time, for the first time, I think, instead of choosing that really innocent, pretty pink, I'm going to use the innocent, darker pink. Okay. And I might put the lighter pink on it to highlight it just a teeny bit. And I'm smiling to follow my natural cheeks. And the cheekbone, I'm going up, creating this a little bit of a feral look. And this is not a natural look at all. So Audrey is very much every day paying attention to making herself seen and making herself very feminine. Okay, I'm going over it with a lighter color. Okay, and then I'm gonna blend. I'm gonna use a little bit of the lighter color also just on the tip of my nose, a little bit on my chin, yep, and then a little bit on my forehead. Right, okay. I think lipstick now, yeah. So I love this Tanais colors. I've got 2 of them and they are my go-to. Both of these are my go-to. There's one that's a little darker, which I'm using today. And when I did the Pee Wee Herman, I used the lighter. Good, okay. And I am going to touch up that bruise a little bit and I'm going to make it stand out a little more because I lost a little bit of it. Yeah, it didn't stay with me totally after I put on some stuff. And I knew that would happen. Thank you. And so I'm going to put a little bit more in there. And it's the shiny makeup that I've got. And then a little bit of really, really dark blue. And I only want the tiniest bit of that in there. Because that's going to stand out. And then I'm going to put a little of the pink on top of that. Yep. Because I'm also going to put some powder on top of all of it. So once I'm done with this. I'm going to put a little bit of powder on top of it, and that will tone it down a little more also. So it will still appear as though she's trying to cover up a shiner, which is definitely very much what's happening with her. And then there needs to be a little more. A little bitty teeny more. Okay. Let's put it. Yeah, it also helps if you can make it a little spidery because, the veins, the capillaries, like the direction of your capillaries sort of shows up when you get a bruise. It's little spider webs and little spots. Some other things that I would like to talk about. I'm going to be quoting Final Girl Fashion, Bloom to Perish, The Cutting Truth About Audrey's Clothes in Little Shop of Horrors by Ellen Greene. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Written October 15th, 2020, Nightmare on Film Street. Sadly, Audrey's signature silhouette and color palette isn't her own. It's the look that the possessive Oren likes best, and thus the one she feels she must stick to, even when she builds up the courage to wear something more fun and whimsical. See the stunning rose-lined off-the-shoulder number she's been wearing while working at Mushnick's one day. She makes sure to change into something more suited to Oren's taste. See also the long-sleeved leopard dress she's in later that day. Right. So Audrey dresses for others, and we talked about that a little bit. Audrey dresses for others in her everyday world, and she dresses for herself in her fantasies. Or if she's at Oren's, she's wearing like a dress that makes her look literally like a flower, which is such a smart, interesting choice. Excuse me. And I want to talk about that as well. So Audrey is described as ditzy, but nowhere in it does she appear stupid. She talks to Seymour about putting his plant up front because the business is failing. She talks about Seymour about appearing on television. She gives him countless advice on how to dress, how to appear, how to present himself, and those are the majority of her lines. So nowhere in the script does she appear stupid. She just sounds stupid, and that is an intentional choice. Okay, we're gonna do some of the powder because she very much would have done this. You can see her doing it in the movie. She puts some on to try to cover up her bruises. These are getting longer and longer as I do them, and I'm sorry about that, but, I have a lot to talk about that I didn't have to talk about before because the more I've been doing this, the more I wanna dive into why the people that I'm portraying are interesting to me. Why do I gravitate toward Audrey or Pee Wee Herman, or other than the fact that I'm very much a product of those times? What is it that draws me to those characters specifically? Because it could be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's also when I grew up, right? But I'm not doing that. My choices are really intentional, and there's something there. So I want to figure out what that is. I want to figure out why those people are interesting to me, and why I'm picking those people, and what is interesting about them, and talking to you about that stuff. Okay. And now we're going to go with our eyelashes. And so this is the thing where you put on the liner first, the winged eyeliner first, and then you put on your lashes. And she doesn't really need lashes per se, fake eyelashes, but we're going to do it. This is a quiet experience because I'm really concentrating on straight lines. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to make sure that it is as close to my lash line as possible. There we go. Okay. And I haven't winged the shit out of her eyeliner like it probably is done. Nice. Okay. And now we're going to go, it's creeping into the very inner eye, and that is not great. Ooh. But I'm going to work on it. I don't like this. There we go. Okay, that was a lot of quiet. I apologize for that. But now we're going to put on the last eyebrow, which is going to be great. And then eyelash, not eyebrow. And then I'm going to put on a wig, which I've never done before on here. Awesome. Okay, so this is my pretty much completed Audrey look, and except for the wig. And I want to talk about the wig for a minute because I did a lot with this wig. So with this wig, I back combed the back, and you can't really see it. And I hairsprayed the stuffing out of it. So we're going to put it on right now. Okay, I debated on whether, there it is, I've got my Audrey, that's my Audrey look. I debated on whether or not I should dye my hair, and I should have, like bleached it out, because my hair shows underneath this so badly. And this is a really cheap wig, and I don't mind a cheap wig. However, it does, uh, it does present a problem in that I can't really see, and you can see, you can definitely see my hair underneath. There, that's not bad. There we go. Okay, I did it. 1 hour and 5 minutes later, we've got Audrey. End stream. Bye.